Welcome to the Bolia Couch, where we today have Syssi Mananga and Ronan Skillen, who is joining us on the couch to discuss their new album, Mopepe Mama, that was released on April the 15th, the International Day of Culture. So glad that you could be with us, Ronan and Syssi. Welcome to the couch.
Hello.
Hey.
Before we get into your album, let's get a quick introduction to who you guys are. How did you make it into the music industry? What has your journey been? Maybe we start with you, Syssi. You.
Okay. So my name is Syssi Mananga. I'm half Belgian, half Congolese. There are no big musicians in my family. I actually got into music after watching the movie Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg and Lauryn Hill, and I really loved Lauryn's voice, and I thought, I got to sing like that lady. So I enrolled in the church choir, sang some gospel, and later on I got a scholarship to study in the US and got into jazz in Washington DC, singing in clubs in New Street. And when I returned to Congo, I decided to write my own songs, and the first album, Retour aux Sources, was born in 2013. Got some attention, some prize, RFI Concours Talent recognition. And 8 years later, here I am releasing the second album, Mopepe Mama, which is about my journey as a woman and as a mother.
All right, and Ronan, we know that you've been working with several Emmy Award winners, and there's a rumor now that you're involved in something that involves an Oscar. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and confirm whether or not there's something about that rumor on that Oscar?
They're true, they are. I mean, it's funny how the world works. You get involved in things that all of a sudden are nominated for Oscars and win BAFTA awards, and you kind of think, wow, maybe it is worth pursuing this, But briefly, what my little journey is, I was born in Ireland, so I'm Irish, and I moved to Germany when I was just 2 years old. And in Germany, I actually was a classical musician. I played the French horn in orchestras for a long time. And that all changed when I was about 17. I got a didgeridoo from a friend, and this whole world of improvisation opened, and I kind of realized, okay, I don't have to just play what's on the page. So I could do whatever I felt and I wanted to play, Obviously, different instrument, different circumstances. And then I got more into rhythm, and I was really lucky enough to do a lot of traveling. I went all over Africa and Australia and ended up in South Africa, which is where I still live now. I kind of got stuck here, actually. It's a funny, longer story, which I won't get into. But essentially, while I was down here, I had been here for a couple of years. I met an amazing Indian tabla player from Delhi. I happened to hear his concert, and I was so inspired that I spoke to him, and then he invited me to study in India. So I studied tabla, which is a whole nother world, and that really solidified the rhythmic obsession for me. And then I think over the years I've developed lots of different combinations and styles and my own kind of hybridized kits, and really been attracted to just the sounds really than what the instruments are specifically. And then I got more into production as well, just how to record and what makes something sound good or bad, or how do you do it, that obsession. And this is, I guess, why we are here, because of what we've done. So there you go.
So we have an Irish man living in South Africa. We have a Belgian Congolese woman living in Nairobi. So how come you guys met? How come this collaboration came about? How are you guys working together? Syssi, let's start with you.
So we actually never met physically with Ronan. We had a virtual encounter thanks to the Beyond Music project funded by Tina Turner and Regular Curti, which is an online platform allowing musicians to compose together virtually a song on a given theme, which changes every year. And Ronan and I were part of that platform, and we did one collaboration together. And after that one collaboration, Ronan was like, "Oh, I really like your voice. Why don't you try to sing on that other composition that I made?" And we tried to submit it for Beyond Music Volume 2. And I really loved his composition, his sound. It really got my creative juices flowing. And I was thinking, I have this album in the back of my mind. I've been looking for a producer for years. Maybe Ronan could be the guy. And after the Beyond Music Marathon was over, it took us, working day and night for a few weeks. After it was over, Ronan sent me an email. He was like, "Oh, I really enjoyed our collaboration for Beyond Music. Maybe we should collaborate on an album together one day." I'm like, I was thinking.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it was great. It's been quite telepathic. Very, very, very interesting, very easy, which is lovely, It's not always easy with people to work creatively, and it's just worked. It's been very, very cool.
And the album is there, released on the 15th of April, as I mentioned. And we've seen that you have been releasing one single, one video clip every month since the beginning of this year. And there's also been quite some media attention to it. I've seen since you've been on France 24, on BBC Africa, and other big media outlets. So I think everybody's curious, and you already touched a little bit upon it. How do you produce an album during COVID? Not being in the same place. I know the musicians are from all over the world. How was that experience? How did that come about? Ronan, you from producer point of view, I imagine that's the first time you ever do such a virtual production of an album.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite ambitious, I think, from my side. I mean, I like to put myself in situations where I kind of know I can do it. I'm not quite sure how yet, but if I don't try, then I'm not going to figure it out. That was similar feeling initially, and then I knew I had the gear and the space. I mean, thankfully, lockdown, I had this space which I'm sitting in to do this, meaning I was able to listen to Syssi's demos. She sent me, I think you sent me 10 tracks initially. Maybe it was 9, or I can't remember. And just, you said, hey, give me your honest feedback. What do you think? Is anything possible with this? And I listened a few days, and then I realized that the essence of the message, I mean, I didn't even understand some of the languages. I mean, Lingala, French, and English. So, but I could feel that there was enough in it for me to go, well, I understand it somehow. You've got a context already. So that's the main ingredient, really. If you can feel it, then what more do you want? So I thought, well, what we need is a solid foundation. So bass, drums, and somebody like me who can just hold it all together. And then we see what happens from there. And that's kind of how we started. We made a deal. We got basic idea in place. This is what it's going to sound like. Maybe some references, not too produced, not too sort of crazy, very organic, all about Afro, folk, pop, easy percussion, not too heavy, music I love. I mean, it's been something I've always enjoyed, the sound of that part of African music. And I think where we were both in agreement was that we wanted it to be something that could be translatable to any audience. So whether you speak Lingala or whether you speak French or English, it really doesn't matter. So anyone anywhere in the world could hear it. Similarly to the way, people know who Bob Marley is because everyone knows that sound and it's just there. You know it, you feel it, that's it. So that was the brief, I guess, hey, between us. We kind of thought about it like that. Like, how do we make it sound universal and easy and fun and meaningful and true? Honest is really the thing that we went for, I think. And then, yeah, I recorded drums and bass and guitar and myself on percussion right here in Cape Town. And Syssi sent me all her vocal parts as they happened. I mean, you should see the folder. It's unbelievable puzzle. but incredible. I mean, I've never known anyone to sing so many incredible harmonies, so many ideas, and so much. I mean, I never had too little to work with. That was amazing as well. Or I would say, can you send me another part that, second verse or whatever. There was a phrase here that didn't work. Yeah, I'm just out walking, but I'll be home in a minute. I'll send it to you. And then within half an hour, there it is. And I mean, yeah, very little processing, absolutely no auto tune on any of her vocals, which is also unbelievable. I mean, these days, that's almost like everyone does that. And it's just so cheap, I guess. Why do that? If you can't sing, then don't bother. It's worked.
All of us who have listened to it can definitely recognize that beautiful sound. It's incredible to imagine that you created that without being in the same room. For you, Syssi, being a singer-songwriter, can you see what Ronan has been explaining, or did you experience a little bit different? How did you manage to place the trust that it is to work with a producer, with someone that you mentioned you've never been in the same room with?
Yeah, so it was definitely a very important and key decision which producer I would be working with, especially at a time where I was 9 months pregnant of my fourth child. So you're talking about trust. Trust is important in general, but specifically in that period of my life where I was a little bit maybe stressed out with the delivery being imminent, but I knew that with Ronan, things will get done because he is very results oriented. When we started working together and discussing whether we should collaborate on this album or not, he came up with this beautiful schedule saying, okay, I will have the core band recording within a week, then you will put your vocals onto it, we'll give it 10 days, and for the next 2 weeks, other musicians, strings and keys and drums will be added on top to make it complete, and then I'll take a week to mix the album. So I had this very clear schedule, which was very important, and everything that he said, he stood by. So that's something I really appreciate as a professional collaboration with him. Of course, he had the entire musical package, very talented producer, very talented percussionist, very high sensitivity musically, but also professionally, he was a perfectionist and he was result oriented.
And that's also what worked in our collaboration, because I'm also very result oriented. I'm also very, very quick, and I like that it was a very like a ping pong. And he would stand by his word. So he would say, "We'll do this with these people," and then it would happen. And we know how difficult it is to manage musicians, and even for maybe musicians in Africa. And he also had that great skill that he managed to mobilize the musicians, to give them the musical direction, to have the vision about this could fit, let's add a trumpet, let's add this, let's add strings, and then put it together and mix it so beautifully. So I think another advantage of doing this album during COVID was, even though we had a schedule and we wanted to finish it by the end of the year, we started the collaboration in October. I remember that's the week where I delivered. The first recording day was basically when I started to go into labor.
Unbelievable.
And you were like, oh yeah, Sean is coming, the bass player. Sean is coming tomorrow. Maybe we can have a quick chat. I'm like, I'm at the hospital. I don't think I can.
Oh man.
I don't think I can be on the Zoom tomorrow while you record, but good luck. And that's the great thing, is during this a little bit stressful time of my life where I was 9 months pregnant and ready to deliver, I knew that I could trust Ronan to do what he said and deliver it, as I said, directing the musicians and following the calendar and make sure that by the end of the year we would have this album recorded, and he did it.
So you managed to have 2 babies in 1 year, a real baby, and then the album that is also like a baby.
And I have the 2 fathers here.
Yes. I love that.
The baby's there. The 12 songs are there. It's an album with 12 songs. The tough question, always difficult to answer. What is your favorite song? Ronan, what is your favorite song?
Oh man, what is my favorite song? Phew. That's a difficult question. I went through a phase of Tatawana, was really a favorite of mine. Nawe was always such a great vibe.
Yeah, reggae.
Um, I actually, yeah, it's probably either of those two at the moment for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And what about the 3 video clips? Which of the 3 video clips do you prefer? Do you have a favorite between the 3 of the 3?
Nawe is definitely my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, I like that story a lot, and I love the idea behind it. It's beautiful, you know, it's if I mean, look, all your messages and all your videos have wonderful metaphors behind them and you know, encouragement for a better world, ultimately. But that in particular in Norway is, you know, what will go deepest, I think. Because if you start the inward transformation, then outward it will reflect. That's how it works, I think. And that one, just for me, you know, is one of those favorites, definitely.
Yes, not easy to choose between 12 great songs. Sissy, for you, I could imagine equally as difficult as with Ronan from these 12 songs. Do you have a favorite?
Well, it's really difficult to pick your favorite song in an album. It's like asking which one of your children you prefer. You can really not answer that. But I can say which one maybe is which songs are the most symbolic or the most iconic for me. And I will start with the Alpha and the Omega, meaning the first song that I composed and the last. Because they show the cycle and the journey of the Mopepe Mama album. So the first song is Mopepe, which is the eponym for the album, and it's a song that's important. I composed it a long time ago, a few years ago, and it tells about me, who I am as a mixed heritage woman, living a life not attached to one country, because I've moved a lot in Africa. I'm a repat, like an African woman from the diaspora that made a return to the continent that was successful, and I started in Congo, but then I moved to Tunis and Abidjan, and I'm in Kenya. So you cannot really cage me in a specific country, very much like you cannot cage my music in a box. So I'm like the wind, so that's what Mopepe means, and it's important that the first single out of Mopepe Mama told that story.
And then the last song, the Omega, is actually Mzela, because that's the last song that I wrote, that we wrote with Ronan. Symbolizes that collaboration and that encounter that made this sweet baby possible. so for me, those are the two that it's not that I prefer them, but that maybe they're the most symbolic of the album's journey.
All right, very interesting. So we're getting to the end of our little Bolia talk, our little couch talk. We always end this session by asking, what are you currently working on? What are your next projects? What do you want the listeners and the viewers to keep a keen eye on? So, Ronan, as I mentioned in the beginning, we know you're involved in a lot of different projects. This is one of them. Is there something that you would like to share with the audience? What are you working on? What do you want us to follow coming up in the coming weeks and months from your side?
Well, at the moment, it's hard to tell whether what I'm involved in is going to win an Oscar or not. But that's the one thing. There's, for the listeners or watchers, I was lucky enough to get involved in the soundtrack of My Octopus Teacher, which is a Netflix documentary. And I had a very, very, very small part. I mean, I'm by no means the guy who is the soundtrack. That, just to be clear. My contribution is about 5%. So a little sprinkle of plankton on top, you know. So that's happening. I guess by Sunday we will know, because the Oscars are on Sunday. I've just released a new single of mine. I have a solo project which I've been doing for about 3-4 years now. Digital, which is essentially a kind of a cross-pollination of Australia, India, and Africa in a solo context of my own. And initially I did a very acoustic album of it, and that was then remixed. 5 tunes were remixed by a great producer from Johannesburg, and we've just done a new one called The Walker, and it has a very abstract crazy animation video that goes with it. So you can check that out. It's out there now. We're also working on a collaboration with the great cello player Yo-Yo Ma, which is very exciting. Oh, sorry, something just fell over here. Yeah, and he is busy waiting for us to continue that. Always, it's tricky again because of COVID. We were supposed to be in New York actually working with him, and none of that happened, you know. And so this has all been, once again, like this, via the internet. Yeah, otherwise, kind of hoping that it might open up. I would love to take Syssi Mananga on the road. That would be cool.
Syssi, I imagine, as the album has just come out, you have a lot of activities that are linked to that. Difficult during the time of COVID, where normally you would go on tour and so forth. What do you have on your agenda for the next couple of weeks and months that we should be following closely?
Well, since it's almost impossible to get this album on the road with the lockdown and travel restrictions, I still wanted to remain relevant for my audience. So the same way that we've released a single every month since January, we're going to continue doing that and release a music video every month until the end of the year. So we have already promoted 3 tracks. There are 9 remaining, and there are 9 months in the year between May and December. So every month, starting in May until December, we'll be releasing a new music video. So I already thank very much the director for the work he's going to put in that achievement, and that's going to keep me and us busy until December 2021, and hopefully before the end of the year we can actually go on the road and promote the album, showcase it during festivals, etc. So that's one exciting thing. And the second thing is that I've just launched a new brand called Mopepe Mama. So I have a shop online on Facebook and Instagram where you guys can buy Mopepe Mama and Mopepe Papa items, and it's basically a brand about new parents and cool moms and dads on the go. En français, on dirait les papas et les mamans dans le vent. So if you're looking for cool, trendy gifts for yourself as young parents or for your friends, don't hesitate to check out Facebook and Instagram for the Mopepe Mama shop. Cool mugs, flip-flops, t-shirts, bags for the cool moms and dads on the go.
So the couch ended up turning into a commercial. We now know where to buy our next gifts, the next cool things for the cool dads and for the cool moms. Syssi and Ronan, you guys are busy. Big congratulations with the release on the 15th. The album is now out. We invite all the listeners, all the viewers to go check it out. Check out the music videos. We're looking forward to what's coming up. Ronan will be looking on Sunday, crossing our fingers for you. Thank you so much for joining the couch, the Bully Couch, and I hope, though you're busy schedules, you'll be able to join us for another chat, another day, and maybe in real life, maybe you'll stop by Kenya, Ronan.
Oh, I'd love that. I would so love to come. I've been there twice in my life, and a third time is always the lucky one. So
Yes.
There we go. We'll be looking forward to it. So, Ronan, Syssi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Troels, for your wonderful.
thank you so much, Troels. Wonderful to see you guys. Really great.
See you.
Bye-bye, everybody.